Haribo.
Haribo.
Okay, we are live on Facebook right now.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Very good. So, not quite sure how many are viewing this, but I'm going to see if you can. We're going to try to share this as well. I'm going to share this.
Okay. Would you like me to do anything?
So I'm going to share this, and maybe you can go on Facebook.
Okay.
And also share it.
Okay.
To your timeline. So then those who are looking for your link from your group can also find
okay. So.
How are you doing this morning?
Well, it's been an interesting morning. We had a big leak. Our boiler had problems, but other than that, yes, we're okay. Happy to be here. Very grateful. Thank you for taking this time and having us here. I'm very, very grateful. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Things are doing. Things over here in New Jersey weather is great. And people are more or less feeling less stressed. And
yes, the slower pace. It helps. We're all locked down. I'm just sorry. I'm just gonna also check because I couldn't manage to do that. All right. It does say we're live.
Yeah. So you can kind of mute your.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
Okay. So we have our viewers here, and we can see our first viewers joined.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Wonderful. So we'll just give the viewers maybe 1 minute together. It's to get into the studio before we get started with the introduction.
Right. Okay.
We have the famous Biju Jani also joined our.
We're all. This is all a bit.
It's fun. It's fun.
Almost comical. I'm sure you can appreciate that. Yeah. We're trying our best. Welcome, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Welcome, everyone. So I'm just going to start with the introduction. So thank you all very much for joining this much anticipated broadcast. So we are going to be having a conversation today with Kishori Jani. Kishori Jani is, just a brief introduction. She's an ISKCON devotee since birth. Both her parents are disciples of Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya. And she grew up in India. Then later on, she studied biochemistry in college here in the United States. But now she's living in Leicester in the UK as a teacher and mother of 4 young children. She's an Avanti school teacher teaching Sanskrit and Kirtan. So, welcome. So let's just get right to it. So a few weeks ago, you posted a short video of your family doing Hare Krishna Kirtan as part of the Festival of the Holy Name, pandemic. Yeah.
Right.
And the very next day, this video was getting millions of views. It was phenomenal.
Right.
It was phenomenal. In fact, today I think we have nearly 12 million views on it. So tell us about it. Why do you think? Just tell us about that experience, and maybe you can tell us why you think it became so popular.
As you can imagine, we're just as clueless and amazed by the whole experience as anyone would be. Lost for any reasonable explanation. But as a devotee, there's only one true explanation. There's only one answer in our lives, and that is the mercy of the Supreme Lord and Vaishnavas. I definitely feel that has been a running thread in our life. So many times we could attest that it's a very clear picture that we're not in control. There's very little that we do, as you know, that we are in control of, that we can take credit for. So aside from the obvious, that 99% of this probably is just grace, we can speculate that it was probably the kids. It's quite a novel situation to see 4 children in one shot, in one frame. That's a miracle on its own. And then it's the names of Krishna. We're not musicians. I keep telling people everything that could have gone wrong with the video, in one sense, did. There's a crying baby, and the shots are all. The music is just okay, just about. We're not in any way great kirtaniyas, but I think people are drawn to just the reality of it and maybe the softness of children. I definitely feel that children have a magical effect. Their energy is very pure, and mixed with chanting the holy name, maybe it's a sure winning formula, I suppose. And we've just been so grateful because this is something we do in our life anyway. We just woke up on Thursday morning. We thought, okay, let's do what we do every day. And it's nice to see that other people appreciate it. It's nice. It's so nice to see that people are looking for this. It's quite empowering to think that actually this is what people want to see if given the opportunity. So yes, that's the
Wonderful.
gist of it.
Wonderful. So what I'm going to do now, there are people who are watching who may not actually seen the video. So maybe I'll share a few seconds of that clip. Let's see if that works over here. And let's see if the sound.
Good morning. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah. Good morning from sunny England.
Right.
Good morning.
It's so natural and it's so unrehearsed and unscripted. It's beautiful.
Oh,
part of the charm.
Life. It's real life.
And what's I think I found very charming was when the kids introduced themselves. It was really sweet.
Today, all of our kids. This is Raman Rai. Hare Krishna. This is Aditeshana.
He's a little shy. He's not shy. Oh.
So please join along and
let's see.
Have you ever tried watching yourself again?
So in a few seconds, I wanted to share.
Thank you.
So, well, thank you for doing that. And there is, as I was watching that video, and I was thinking, why is it? What is so compelling about this? And I found certain elements of it. But one thing that I found very striking is when you were speaking and introducing everybody, and your general demeanor, there's a sense of immense security and confidence, and a sense of lightness and lightheartedness that you carry, and your whole family seems to carry with you. And a lot of our Hare Krishna devotees have also been described as being bright-faced and just naturally very happy. And you seem to carry that very naturally, without, it's an effortless sort of beauty, sort of charm. You don't have to put any effort in it, and neither does any of your family members. And you sometimes find that a lot of non-Hare Krishna people find it very compelling to see what is it that makes people so happy. So perhaps, what is it, your philosophy of life, perhaps, or the perspective that you feel that it'll help you and maybe also other families get into this space of just being generally happy and trusting that the Lord will take care of everything. You can
absolutely. I think you nailed it in that last sentence, trusting that the Lord will take care of everything. As our motto in ISKCON is, right? Chant and be happy. It truly works, as I'm sure you know. We have definitely noticed a shift that in our own lives, very, very distinct shift, when we brought regular kirtan into our lives. People say, oh, you have 4 kids, how do you do kirtan? The way we do it is by doing it. I think my point is that when you bring kirtan into your life, when you bring the names of God, it actually just takes away so much pain and suffering, so much chaos and so much mental agony that we go through. The power is beyond our imagination, right? It's not really, you can't really explain it with science as such. Maybe a little bit, you can scratch the surface. But in our lives, we've definitely seen when we started doing Aarti every single day in the evening, well, most days, we do the Sandhya Aarti, and, you know, we have a routine of just chanting a few rounds with the children every day. And it's completely shifted our experience as parents and the relationship with the children. We're not saying we don't have blowout tantrums regularly and children are not overwhelmed regularly, but it definitely made all the difference in the world to have a regular routine that we go to. The kids know 6:30 every evening we're going to have the Aarti. You know, they know it's japa time. And it's in the beginning, it was very difficult. I remember a few months we struggled with getting the children on board. But once it's in your routine, it's a night and day difference. What the holy name can bring into our lives. So I'm not surprised that when people see us, they think, "Oh, you look happier than maybe you should be. Maybe you shouldn't be so happy." It's nothing in our hands, but the name, the holy name, is so powerful. It is so powerful. And when I think about, oh yeah, 11 million views, actually I think this is nothing. I wish the whole world could see that that little children can understand it and feel the difference in their own mental space. That when they chant shlokas and they bang around the drums, it's a very chaotic kirtan. It's not like, even our japa time is like wrestling, and it's no one's really meditating deeply, but just the vibration that can bring, you know, the consciousness is just, it slowly rises, and there's no denying that. So the happiness cannot be hidden, right? When you're chanting God's name, it is way beyond potent. So even when I see the video, I do see those are our happy times. I tell people this is my sacred space. It's my safe space. That's how I do kirtan. That's what we get out of it. And that's why we can do it repeatedly again and again, chant the same boring mantra for some people. They're like, why do you always bang on about Hare Krishna? Try it. Right? That's
Right.
what we keep telling people. I hope that answered.
Yeah, that's key. Seems to be the Hare Krishna mantra. That's like the core of your practice,
Right.
and a fundamental part of our philosophy, for sure. And in spite of, you know, some devotees are asking on the chat that how is it that you manage with children and Krishna consciousness in the modern world, and I think you kind of answered it, that you do it not because of the modern world, but in spite of it. Or you just decided to do it, and you're doing it. You wrestle with it, but whatever. This is our priority, and that's how you end up being so happy. You know, that's the key.
Right.
After happiness.
It's like dieting or anything else. You know, when you want to do something that's good for you, you know it's good for you, but it doesn't mean it's going to come easily. So the first few months, if you try to bring in a new sadhana with your children, a new aspect of daily routine, they're going to fight it because it's not something that's very commonly done. Hey, buddy, just a few minutes. One of them's. But we keep going, just like exercise, just like the effect is seen over time, right? After a little while. So same thing. If you're struggling a little while you bring in the Aarti or chanting or reading or whatever it is with your children, please persevere. I can say that it's definitely worth it. And that's how we do it, because we can stay sane. We stay sane. You want to say Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna.
Okay, we can't see you. There you are. This is Adi. He's a bit of a puchudi kehte na Hindi mein. He can't let go. So even a few minutes. Hare Krishna. There we go. Can we see there? Oh, there we go. Hare Krishna. He's the middle one. He's very attached. So if I'm gone even for 20 seconds, he has to come find me.
How old is
he? Adi is 5. He's nearly 6 years old.
Wow, wonderful. Did you know that he's an international viral sensation?
They do hear it once in a while. Oh, this many now views. Even we're just so blown away. It's absolutely just, as you can imagine, is not something that we ever expected. So
So, just to put things in perspective, the biggest football stadium in the UK probably can hold maybe 80,000 people. Now you're looking at 100 football stadiums, something like that, or like.
Krishna. Anyways, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like in the vision of what we should be doing,
right.
what we should be doing. This is just wow.
So Kishori, tell us. Let's now dial this back a bit and tell us about your own upbringing and education. Where you're born, and a little bit more of your background, and maybe your parent role, your siblings, and so on, and how your career. Whatever you like from the beginning.
Right. I would just like to say right off the bat that any kind of blessing and success that we might have in life, as I get older, I can just hands down say that it has everything to do with our parents in life. And if anyone's watching this and they've got nice parents, it's absolutely essential to recognize their own play. That's my father, Yashamati Nandan Prabhu. He's recovering from a triple bypass surgery, and they've worked so hard, my mother and father, to establish ISKCON in Gujarat as such for many, many years. And obviously maybe as children, we in the beginning, we had some feelings of maybe being secondary to the mission. And there's many devotee children that feel that maybe they were slightly neglected or so on and so forth. I can't say that in my life, but I know many Gurukuli children, ISKCON children have had different experiences. But when I think of them now, we can only hope to be a drop of their how incredibly dedicated and determined they were to serve their spiritual master and to serve Sri Krishna. And that has now come as a reward in our lives when we are mature adults. When you're a child, you think, why didn't I get TV? Why didn't I have, things, material things? And so I remember being petty about that as a younger person. And now any success I have in life, it traces back to these two people in my life. So just everything from knowing the philosophy and knowing how to live life, knowing how to pray, simple things like that. I will always remember my mother saying, even just how to take darshan. She, standing beside us and telling us that you start from the feet and you work your way up and you offer prayers, you offer yourself, and what to say when you're praying. These are things that I think only later on in life you clock on the value of such a deep samskara. And even this viral video, I can attest that anytime we chant, anytime we do a kirtan, that prayer still goes through my mind. Oh, please, Lord, something that we heard my mom say, please help us, engage us in your service. Please use us as instruments. Please help us be worthy of this prayer. So you constantly hear your parents' voices in your head, don't you? And so that's definitely there. Above and beyond that, maybe obviously growing up in India and spending a lot of time in Vrindavan, that's a huge blessing in our life. And obviously my husband's family comes from a very cultured Gujarati background. They're from Kenya, and he's just that can be a whole nother topic. He's the clue to our success. He's a man of great sobriety and wisdom, and so I think it's the package that I'm very fortunate to have a very supportive and a loving husband that really just that's my mother, yes. So I'm touching on all the aspects that would help me to follow this path of bhakti in a wholesome way, and allow it to just be a natural part of life, daily life, if that makes any sense. Sorry, I don't know if I answered the question.
Nice that you recognize the value of our parents' impact on our lives and their their dedication, their sacrifices for Krishna is unparalleled.
Right.
Right. Leader, and he's pushed right from youth. He's gave his entire life to Krishna, to Srila Prabhupada's service.
Yes.
And he's a hero to those of us who are in the next and the third generation, and we can look
absolutely.
I was fortunate enough to actually, your father came to my home, and I'm fortunate enough to meet your mother in Vrindavan as well.
Oh,
They just glow with that sense of devotion to Krishna, and that happiness. And it's so contagious that even if I'm feeling depressed, just being with them I can't be depressed with them because it's
no, especially my mom. She's just beaming with joy. Yeah, she should be a poster for. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, thank you. Yes, I agree with that 100%.
Tell us about your various services that you've done throughout the years as a teacher,
Oh, Krishna.
with children, and also in other capacities. What are some of the things that you have found very fulfilling, and what do you feel that you want to be doing?
Right. So I think I may have had a roundabout experience of being Hare Krishna, right? Like, so there's a time when I didn't really want to be a devotee as such. Very brief period, and very quickly I realized there wasn't much else out there. So I consider myself a bit of a born again Hare Krishna, if you can imagine that, because right. So I think my services, as you call it, is a later part of my life, maybe after or around marriage, and I just realized that really there's nothing else out there. I went to uni in Los Angeles, and it was a really great experience, great college, and just meaning life was it. There was whatever you could ask for in terms of material enamours, and you think everyone's still miserable, everyone's still unhappy. So I'm just so grateful that some scars were there to help me to come back to the reality of Krishna consciousness. So later on, I got back into Sanskrit, which I'd already learned in school in India, going to normal schooling. Outside school, I didn't go to Gurukul.
Yeah,
I
tell us
learned Hindi.
about schooling a little bit more in India.
Yeah, so I'm one of 8 siblings, Krishna, and they all went to Gurukul. I somehow missed out on that, or maybe whatever's Krishna's arrangement. I went to normal public school, so I went learned Hindi, Gujarati, and Sanskrit in normal school. And then when I was a bit older, I thought I really, shlokas were in the back of our head, just with my father. He's quite a scholar in his own right. He loves, philosophy, and so we always heard that. It was always running at the back of our head. And then when I went to college, I wanted to get back into it. And so I did a few more courses in Sanskrit, and then it just kind of fell in my lap, I suppose, because a school opened up here, and my children started going to the Krishnavandi school, and they teach Sanskrit there. So I was really, Adi, sweetheart, can you close the door, please? And they needed a Sanskrit teacher. So again, just like this viral video, I'm so convinced that just any desire you could have to serve the Lord, if you just put it out there, even 1%, a genuine desire to serve Him in some way or be an instrument in His will, He has manifested that in our lives completely and 100%. So again, the Sanskrit, I showed a tiny bit of interest, and then he was like, okay, be a teacher here. I'm not the most qualified. I'm not a Sanskrit Pandit as such. But it's just been the most rewarding thing, because I go in, I teach Gita shlokas, and children, the second nature, and they just absorb it so naturally, so purely, so wonderfully, that it's literally the most rewarding thing I've ever done, teaching Sanskrit. And then obviously Kirtan's always been there. It's the easy thing to do. It's our family.
And is it as part of your children working with the children, teaching Kirtan?
We started at the school doing like after school Kirtan clubs, and then this was many years ago. My husband has been teaching Mridanga at the school for 6 years, ever since it started here. So he's a Mridanga teacher there. And we did a bit of harmonium and other classes, but even after that at the temple, trying to do some Kirtan fests or other Kirtan programs. We've been lucky to have a really wonderful team here in Leicester. They're just so enthusiastic and just wonderful people as friends, and so fortunate. And that's another thing that, in the beginning I was like, Leicester, I didn't know a single person when I moved here. But just the most rewarding thing has come out of it. Just so right, Kirtan has been there in the background, and now we just a bit of both Sanskrit and Kirtan, and the kids going to the school. That pretty much takes up most of our time as service.
Nice. Wonderful. I was thinking, you had mentioned that Srila Prabhupada also had an influence in your life. I mean, you for example, events like this.
You got that from our page, yes. The tributes.
Yeah.
So a wonderful initiative started by Jed Swami, that a local devotee, Nimai Mataji. She's a wonderful friend of ours. She edits all the books, and so she wanted some help with the page. We need to get back on it, but if anyone's interested, every year our offerings can get published. Please do contact Nimai Mataji. So yes, obviously, whatever little we can do, we try. This was many years ago when we opened up the page.
Yeah, so some of our viewers may not know so much about Srila Prabhupada themselves. Maybe you can tell us a few words about how you feel inspired, and what about Srila Prabhupada inspires you personally and keeps you going, because he's basically this life soul of ISKCON devotees, and offer some appreciation.
Absolutely. Especially in this day and age when there's quite a few different gurus and spiritual teachers out there. I've just been appreciating again the role that Srila Prabhupada played, the founder of ISKCON, just at such an incredibly advanced age, 70 years old, when he went to America to save us all, to save the whole world, as my mom says. You can take that in the other room. Do you mind? Can you close the door, please? Right. So because both of my parents are Srila Prabhupada disciples, I grew up with his voice as just background music. We woke up to his voice, we went to bed to his voice. And even now I do the same with my children. I try to make sure that they go to sleep to his voice and wake up to it. And if you have heard his voice, you will understand the purity, the magnitude, just the effect it can have on your spiritual journey. And you must experience it to know what we're talking about. There's a reason why it's a worldwide revolution. Krishna Prema, trying to attain love of God, started by this one man as such in the West. You can't really comprehend it until we try it ourselves. So I have a link on my Facebook page to the Veda Base. All of his books are there. And just, you don't need anything else in life. If you can pick up a book, pick up a Bhagavad Gita, pick up even a smaller one, it can be transformative. My mother always tells the story of how she joined. She got a Back to Godhead.
Mm-hmm.
A Back to Godhead. I mean, that's just a little leaflet as such. And she just read it back to front the whole night and decided, this person knows the truth, the ultimate truth. That's Srila Prabhupada. You can hear 20 minutes of from him, and that can be enough to transform your life. So what can be said, or that would be enough about Srila Prabhupada? If we could even please him, if I could in my life, or us as a family, just please him once. That would be enough. That would be enough.
So this is you having a good time dancing.
Hare Krishna.
One of the things that Hare Krishnas are known for is that they know how to have a good party. It's not
absolutely
boring. The idea of religious experience or religious Sunday is that you have to be very, sober.
No.
You have to be very quiet and contemplative, and you just, don't make a ruckus, and certainly don't be dancing. But Hare Krishna is a little bit different. We like to express ourselves, and this way, this is actually one of the highest spiritual experiences. Maybe you can talk a little bit about you obviously having a good time here and enjoying, and the other devotees are also doing so. Tell
Yeah.
us about that. This is something that what is it that you enjoy about it?
Yes. So dancing is it's just a core characteristic of the soul, like just moving your your externals. Every one of my children, when they get excited, they start bobbing and like all their limbs. So it's an expression of joy. You cannot help it. So any religion that's gonna bar you from dancing, I mean, you don't have any chance there. It's just gotta be. You have to let that love out. You have to That's why it's chant and be happy, dance and be happy, right? Chant, dance, and feast. That's basically our motto. If you go into any ISKCON temple or even on the streets, why are we always jumping up and down? So many viral videos of us just going for it on the streets because you can't hide it. You can't hide the joy that you would feel when you really connect to yourself, the divine, in the form of his names. And I think that's the proof, right? Why do we keep doing it? Why do people chant for 5 decades and still keep going? Because there's something there that cannot be denied. And so if it's overflowing, then it comes out. And right, everyone must experience a rip-roaring kirtan, and I'm sure they remember the specific ones. I can still to this day remember special kirtans with Ainda Prabhu in Vrindavan that will go down till the last breath, because dancing for the Lord is a very, very essential part of the spiritual journey.
And I mean, we not only our generation, but our parents did it. Srila Prabhupada danced.
Oh yeah.
Himself, who's the incarnation of Lord Krishna, came, and that's pretty much all he did was dancing and chanting. He said, focus on that. That's really
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So it's not like something our generation invented or our parents.
No.
This is
no.
eternal as the Lord Himself.
Yes.
So it's nice that it seems to bring out the beauty of the soul.
Right.
I mean, you can see everyone is looking. Hare Krishna is known to be looking very beautiful, and those who came from non-Hare Krishna backgrounds and they became devotees and dancing, we see that the beauty gets transformed to the next level because the soul's real glow seems to flow forth. Face,
Oh, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, it's cleansing the heart, like you said, right? It's a matter of bringing out the inner glow. Tell this one. Go on. Sorry, what was the question?
About this picture.
Okay, that's Raman Rai. That's a long time ago. He was about 3 years old. I would say at a wedding. I can't even remember, Krishna. It's when you have you start losing some brain cells after 4 kids. I do not remember where this was, I'll be honest, but he is about 3 years old.
Uh-huh.
So that's at least 6-7 years ago. But again, it's just the tilak. I always thought, growing up in India, maybe I wasn't so self-conscious. Sometimes I'd wear tilak to school. Later on, I became more self-conscious and I stopped wearing it. And I remember asking Raman to wear it to school. And in the beginning, he was like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's wear it. Because he goes to the Krishnavanti school. He used to wear shika. Then as you get a little older, he stopped. But, even if we go to weddings here, we go to things, I love wearing the tilak because it's such a beautiful thing. And I found that it reminds me to be conscious of who I'm representing. When you wear a tilak, I feel like I'm being my better self because I'm representing Srila Prabhupada, and I'm trying to represent something a bit higher than myself. I can easily just be in my sweatpants and whatever, in a t-shirt and a jumper and a hoodie and be normal and comfortable maybe, but it doesn't inspire me to be my best self. So whenever I see that, I'm like, oh, okay, yes, tilak is our greatest ornament. Thank you for sharing that picture. Yes.
Tilak
is the way to go.
It is.
Sorry.
And I saw that over the years you've also been promoting Kirtan festivals like Leicester Kirtan Fest.
Oh,
A big part of,
yeah.
your your field of promotions. That just let's go for Kirtan. So what?
Yeah.
For those of our viewers who are not that familiar with Kirtan, what message do you have? How to incorporate Kirtan into their lives in just a short,
Yeah. So Kirtan obviously means to glorify, Kirti, right? We're glorifying the Lord. And I'm sure anyone can attest that every culture, every religion has its own way of chanting God's names, whatever name they choose to take. And it's just such a global understanding that everyone can get involved with it. So it's, I guess, since Ainda Prabhu's time, Kirtan has become a real, especially these 24-hour Kirtans, these long Kirtan events that invite everyone into it, has pretty much spread like wildfire around the world. So we in Leicester wanted to contribute a bit and try. So we started about maybe 7-8 years ago. Oh, gosh, my memory's so bad. But so every year we have a Kirtan Fest in September. And it started out really small. It's still pretty small. We're not very famous here in Leicester, but it's just the most enjoyable thing because it's not about numbers. And the locals come together. Sometimes we have some big names if we get lucky, but usually it's just local folk for 2 days, usually in the second week of September. And for those who don't know about Kirtan, it's just so easy to plug in. If you just Google the closest Kirtan next to you, I bet you it won't be far. And I bet you it's going to be the best thing you've tried. So please, if you don't know what Kirtan is, you absolutely must. If you've watched this far.
ISKCON temple and just Google ISKCON closest to you.
Absolutely. It won't be far. We can promise you that. And look for there's a new thing happening if you're in any major city in the world. It's called Kirtan, either wherever, there's Kirtan London, there's Kirtan Leicester, there's Kirtan Dubai, I heard, there's Kirtan Moscow, there's Kirtan Toronto or Vancouver. There's literally most major cities in the world have plugged into their own Kirtan events, which happen weekly. Kirtan Scotland, I know that happens. So please try it. It does, and it's not in a temple setting usually, so you can feel comfortable if you're not familiar with those settings. And we're just trying to reach out to as many people as possible so that we can share the love and we can share these tools on how to become happy. And it's free. So please do try it.
Thank you. So now that you have actually built quite a big following pretty much overnight, you have about 100,000 plus followers on Facebook who are very eager to learn more about you and more about you. And I see you already started creating some videos and maybe some instructional videos and on
yeah.
And so what is your vision of sharing Krishna consciousness with your base and to grow it? So maybe you can talk about what ideas you've developed so far, things like that.
Right. So some videos I'd already made before. This is the other thing that, I had a small desire. I really wanted to share. There was like, for a few months I've been thinking about it. I really want to share. Because when you have something which is making you so happy and it's free, you don't really need to charge anyone for it. I don't know, there's a real longing inside of you to share that, especially if you've been trained as a devotee child that we must share. So it's just amazing because I'd made a few videos. They were okay, I'm not a tech genius. I just the sound was off and all that. But I'm just recollecting that small desire and small spark to share, and then Krishna just, chappar phad ke kehte hain na Hindi mein. Matlab, he just took the roof off. Now I don't know what to do. I'm like, oh Krishna, okay, because now it's a whole new audience.
You asked Krishna for it. My Lord,
I asked Krishna for it. Such a small
conscious with other people. Okay, well, you asked for it. Can you handle it?
Can you handle it? Show us what you got now. So honestly, we're just trying to catch up with what's going on, and we've had so many issues with converting to a page, like just technical issues because we're so not tech savvy. So we're at the moment we're churning the ideas around, and my go-to natural state is to share philosophy. I don't actually consider myself a kirtaniya as such. I mean, that's obvious. We all must be doing kirtan, yuga dharma. But so I just do it because that's what people expect right now. But I'm hoping very soon to start more conversation-based, videos or live sessions, and I just want to share the actual depth of what Srila Prabhupada's given us, and share how we can apply that in our life. So more conversations to come soon, as soon as I figure out how the technical aspect of it all, and yes, more videos like you were mentioning, more. So along with the kirtan, more philosophy-based conversations. That's where we see our future, and they're just responding to people's maybe questions on how and why. Hopefully.
That seems to be one of the things I've noticed is that, yes, Kirtan is very attractive and lively and people come in, they want to join in and dance. But then do you have a philosophy to back up
Yes.
banging on the tambourines that you're doing on the street? Because generally the understanding or the stereotype is that people who stand on street corners banging on tambourines are not supposed to have sophisticated philosophies.
Right.
Conception. And then when you open the books that Srila Prabhupada's written, and
Krishna, yeah.
Gita, I mean, maybe you can about Gita to all your listeners, but isn't that the most amazing thing, that every page on it is so compelling that all of the philosophies pale by comparison?
Yeah, what was I listening? Anyways, I heard someone giving a lecture where they were quoting some other Christian persons, some Christian priest saying, well, the Hare Krishnas may have an answer to everything, but don't be fooled. The Hare Krishnas are known to have an answer for everything. Or not just the Hare Krishnas. The Vedic system is so rich and so diverse. It's not like Srila Prabhupada made this up. It's not like it's just the Hare Krishnas. It's not a new invented thing in the 1970s. This is the Vedic system. This is handed down to us by the Supreme Person. And it's so empowering when you tap into that depth of knowledge and resource. You just feel it's humbling and empowering at the same time. It's so amazing. You feel so humbled, and yet you feel invincible because nothing can break you when you've got the backing of this, of all of this. So then when you hear people are suffering, then when you hear people feel lonely, then when you hear people feeling depressed, your heart breaks because you think, how can this be fair? How can this be? It's one click away. It's one click away, so that's, you feel so impelled to share when you hear of people's sufferings that can be taken away by something so simple as sharing your life or your realizations or Krishna's message. So it has to be done. All of us. If you're a devotee listening to this, please. If we can't go out on book distribution, you just click the live button and read. This is a new Sankirtan party. And if you're not a devotee, then just click on the database link. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Tell us now a little bit about your husband, Birju.
Right.
Come about. He's a Gujarati from Kenya. I mean, Kenyan Gujaratis are the best.
Kenyan Gujaratis. Oh, really, Prabhu. I would absolutely agree. Prabhu was saying that because he's a Kenyan Gujarati, but I would have to agree with you. Oh, where to start?
I think some people probably mistook him from Gerard Butler or something. That's what I hear. Or mistook him for
I heard
your video viral.
I heard there's some confusion.
It's marriage and I think people like to know.
Yes, absolutely. So, where do I start? He's absolutely our rock and the reason of any of our success, of the blessings in our life. He's from Kenya, but also from England. He was born and raised mostly in England and spent a lot of time in Kenya. My in-laws are from Kenya, but Gujarati. So We met through our parents. It's kind of like a introduction. And again, this is when all the philosophy comes into play, that when you do come to it and you recognize the blessings of your parents in your life and you surrender to that, it can really transform your life. Because I was growing up, I wasn't really open to that. I was not open at all to the idea of being introduced to someone. I was like, I'm gonna find my own person. So, and my father, I would say, brought him into my life and introduced us, and goodness, couldn't be more grateful. He Virju loves Kirtan. He's an avid Aina Prabhu fan, and they've been going to Vrindavan for many, many years. His parents have been associated with ISKCON since the 80s, Bhagavan's time, and all the old school devotees from the UK were regulars at their house. So very prominent congregation members in the UK for a long time. So I pretty much consider him an ISKCON child as such, and in his upbringing you can see that, even though he didn't grow up in the temple as such. But and just I think our success lies in the idea that we both agree that Kirtan is the most important part of our life. Chanting together with the kids, and everything else then is manageable. And I'm so grateful because he has that natural love and also the intelligence and the sobriety, and he's just a very level-headed human being, which I desperately needed. And I should stop blushing now. Hare Krishna.
This is a nice picture. This is looks like your son.
Yeah,
Krishna's
recent. This was at our 10-year anniversary. And we went away just close by to a beach. So Krishna is kind. It's the little things in life, it doesn't have to be much. But yeah, gratitude. Gratitude brings about more gratitude. So if you keep Krishna in the center, everything becomes, this is not to say we have a perfect life. I can say on air that, we bicker like normal people. We have normal meltdowns, normal problems. Today our boiler is broken and it's a normal life. If you come into our house, it's a mess. It's completely chaotic, and you probably would roll your eyes at the reality of it. But I feel, there's that level of fearlessness because nothing is overwhelming, because we know at the end of the day there's going to be Krishna in the middle, and he's got our back. He's a center, so he's gonna have to just take what he's got. This is what he's got. So
this is something that you cannot fake. It seems you can't just pretend to be dependent on Krishna, because then if you do depend on Krishna deep in your heart, then it'll show on your face. Show on the sense of lightness of being, the sense of happiness, in spite of all this chaos. This is, I see, because everyone will see your family as perfect, and you're not perfect. But the thing is, perfection, it seems to me, lies in the fact that you're all, you want to move toward Krishna with all your energy, and then all the other things which look imperfect is actually part of that perfect picture, and that's what makes it so endearing. I think you should definitely encourage all the other devotees who are watching this and all your followers. I think it'll be good if you can give us a few words of what in your mind is true perfection and what not.
So for anyone thinking it's a perfect picture, I just want to assure you that we have our fair share of imperfections on a daily basis, on a minute-to-minute basis. But like you were saying, it's not a matter of you even choosing Krishna. Sometimes, some days we don't choose Krishna. Some days our mind gets the better of us, and we're just like any other couple. But there's no other option. There really is no other option. The other option is losing it completely, succumbing to depression and all the other chaos that Maya can bring. So from experience, we can see that keeping Krishna in the center is literally the only option. It's not like there's another option. Realistically, there really isn't. It's at least in our experience, that that's what's keeping us afloat each day. And I cannot recommend it enough, because if there's any struggle, there is. It's not if there's any struggle in anyone's life. There is a struggle in all of our lives. It just gets put into perspective. It gets put into perspective, and on a daily basis, I can see the effect of us getting together and doing a bit of reading. Like in the evenings, we read with the kids just before they go to sleep. Not long. It's getting longer because they're enjoying it more. But it started with 5 minutes and them complaining and moaning and I don't understand it. But you just keep going. And now they wake up and they're still asking the same questions, and it's giving me the strength to tolerate, to be more humble, to be more patient. I'm not those things naturally. I'm not. Anyone who knows me closely can attest to the fact that I have every vice in the world on a daily basis. But this is where you get your strength from. And I can promise you that it happens on a daily basis. The magic happens on a daily basis. The days that I don't chant, the days that we don't get together and do our 20 minutes a day with the children, 20 minutes. And the days that you don't do that, you will see the difference. So, you got to try it to experience it. I can't even begin to imagine life with 4 kids if Krishna and the tools of spiritual life were not there for us. So do I recommend it? I say there's no other option. Wonderful. I say that this is the only...
What other choice do we have, right? Yeah. So one other aspect of the Krishna conscious philosophy is the importance of the holy land of Vrindavan, and that has a very impactful presence in your family. I mean, your mother lives in Vrindavan, and in Vrindavan, the Yamuna River is particularly worshipable, of course, and I know there's a campaign to save the Yamuna, because the Yamuna is being polluted and so on. And the Bhaktivedanta Manor school kids, they've put together a record, downloaded all kinds of platforms. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Right. Yeah, Bhaktivedanta Manor, our wonderful Jayadev Prabhu, he's an incredible musician and just even more incredible devotee. Yeah, he's been campaigning to save the Yamuna River and raise like 10,000 pounds overnight, pretty much.
Wow.
For the school, by joining efforts. So I have seen so many devotees are very passionate about saving the Yamuna, because obviously it's our special sacred land of Sri Krishna. Recently, my brother just yesterday shared a video about how pristine and gorgeous it's become, because there's no dumping for the last 2 months. And all the people all over the world, I suppose, are tapping into, a sense of such peace from pollution. Everyone's just I think blown away by what the world can look like if we led a slightly different life. So there is another awakening to save Mother Yamuna. If you can get involved, I'm sure there's so many ways to so many different people, so many different projects to save it. And I think there is something in the works. I've heard that the government is somehow trying to, maybe stop all the pollution when things go back to normal. So hopefully, fingers crossed, there's Jayadev Prabhu. Yes, wonderful. You have to check him out. If anyone's listening and they don't know who he is, please go and check Mr. Jayadev Prabhu out and all of his wonderful music. Yeah. But Vrindavan, what can be said? If you haven't been to Vrindavan, one day make that one on the bucket list. So I am very grateful. Actually, that one also goes to my mother. She was very adamant about, us spending a good amount of time in Vrindavan every year, because she had left her home in Cleveland, Ohio, to go to India. And then, Ahmedabad is not Vrindavan. So she would regularly go to Vrindavan with all of us and for the festivals, and she made sure we were all born there. And so we carried on that pratha, and it's having a connection really helps you snap out of it. Again, it's just another connection. just keeping those little ties that can bring you back whenever the mind starts going places. That's what samskaras are about. As parents, you just put in little seeds of tools that the child can use to come back to Krishna, to come back whenever things get really overwhelming. So an attachment to the Holy Land is extremely powerful. You don't have to even have gone there. I know children who are so attached to Vrindavan. There's our own Abhideya, who lives down the road. When she was like 5 years old, she wrote like a love letter to Vrindavan. Please, Vrindavan, please call me to Vrindavan. It's just so powerful to be attached to, these special places.
So we have a couple more minutes. Could you, if you have some messages to take away, and also how different people can follow you going forward, and they can learn on how, and perhaps, how we can continue getting some more content from you and your family, and a general message for the.
Yeah. I just want to express my gratitude to anyone who's watching, or if there's any, we're all a product of blessings in our life, and just the fact that we've become, we have followers, that's also their doing. So we're grateful that they keep sharing and they're interacting with us. And if they can, help in this mission of sharing the love of Krishna, we will be eternally indebted, because it's only through them that we can get our kirtans out. But going forward, we hope to make a little bit better standard content. We're aware that there's only so much of chaotic kids that people can watch. So we're trying to figure out how to best manage also the expectations of the children. We don't want it to get overwhelming for them. I think our meditation recently has just been to take it at the pace that all of us can handle, so that we don't burn out, and just share Krishna in our natural setting that we actually live by. So it might be slow. I just accept that it's going to be at the pace that it is. As a message, I'm learning as we go. I've got so many other devotees to look up to. Gauramani, she's already, she's the queen of Kirtan and sharing for so many years. Immediately I called her and I was like, oh, Gaura, she's like an older sister, So I'm learning. We're trying to see where we can go with this, with the blessings of all the Vaishnavas. We're just whatever Krishna wants, that's going to be the future. We're not really trying to think too much about it as such, to be honest. We just want to, it has organically grown, and it will, I have faith that we'll be guided.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Kishori.
No, thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you. And also, I think it is an opportunity for your fans to get to know you a little bit better, hopefully.
Yeah.
There's so much more to Kishori than just what we can cover in an hour. But I think we got a little bit of a flavor and taste for what it is like to be in Krishna consciousness while trying to raise a family and making the children Krishna conscious and keeping the relationship centered on Krishna. At the same time, in the modern world, we know how difficult it is just to keep anything together.
Yeah.
Not just a family, a household, the financial part, the relationship between husband and wife, relationship between children and parents, and then family with other families, and still have a wholesome, progressive, healthy, and happy life that is a model for others to follow, and that is actually saturated with genuine happiness and satisfaction in the heart. And you have demonstrated this by your samskaras that you receive from your family, and your perseverance with the process, and your keeping up.
Please make this stop, Prabhu.
Kids, it's certainly a gift from God.
Yes, and the Vaishnavas.
And the bottom line is the attitude of gratitude, right?
Attitude of gratitude. That's what you learn quickly as a devotee child. And I would say that there's one thing we should be teaching our children. It's that attitude of gratitude, because it has to start young, right? Like it starts, and if it's not at that age, if it's not at a young age, it's very hard to grasp that later on.
Right. And at a young age, things come so naturally, even memorizing shlokas, for example, or Gita and things like that. But
Yes.
if we are taught to be thankful and grateful to the Lord every time, no matter what, I mean, I always, when I teach Gita, I said that's what Gita stands for. Gratitude is the attitude. GIT.
Okay, I'm stealing that. Gratitude is the attitude. Yes.
So that's
wonderful.
We're grateful to the Lord. Then, see, gratitude is a stepping stone to love. We may not have love, but gratitude is something we can reach fairly immediately.
Yes. Absolutely. Very grateful, Prabhu. Very, very grateful. Thank you so much. Thank
you, all of our viewers, for joining us. And please remember to keep looking out for Kishori. She's just getting to that 1 billion.
And Mother Gopal Prabhu, he's also constantly putting out way better content than us. So please follow him as well.
Yes, on this channel, on this GBC Planning's channel, you will find a lot more wonderful interviews coming up and lot more content.
Yes.
For example, later on at noon Eastern time in the US, we have teenagers in Bhakti.
Yes.
So I think you'll really love that. So please join this channel. Please follow it. And
tuning in.
Content coming down in the pipeline, and I think you will enjoy it. You'll learn a lot about ISKCON, learn about Krishna consciousness, and if you have teenage children, or if you are a teenager yourself, I think you'll find this next one very,
You're going to need the help.
Not but it cannot be done without Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Kishori. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Always chant this mantra, and your life will be sublime. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.